a hand-me-down dress, a prestigious competition. When Mariana Rodriguez steps into the glittering world of haute couture with nothing but her grandmother's sewing techniques, the fashion elite dismiss her as an outsider. But beneath her humble exterior lies a talent that will transform an industry built on exclusion. Thread by thread, stitch by stitch, a revolution begins. Before we dive into the story, comment below where in the world you're watching from. The atrium of Alter Atelier stretched skyward like a cathedral to fashion. Mariana Cruz clutched her portfolio tighter as sunlight streamed through glass panels, illuminating the modern minimalist space where impossibly thin models and impeccably dressed designers moved with practiced confidence. "You can do this," she whispered, smoothing her hand-embroidered huipil blouse. The garment had been passed through generations, its intricate patterns telling stories her grandmother had taught her to read with her fingers. Every eye turned as she approached the reception desk, not with admiration, but confusion, sometimes disdain. Her traditional Mexican clothing stood out against the sea of sleek black and beige surrounding her. "I have an appointment," Mariana said, voice steady despite her racing heart. "For the design internship position." The receptionist, blonde, rail-thin, dressed in what appeared to be an architectural construct rather than clothing, looked her up and down. "Are you sure you're in the right building?" "Yes," Mariana said. "My appointment is with Mr. Vega at 11. After a skeptical glance at her computer, the receptionist gestured toward a minimalist white couch. "Wait there." As Mariana sat, the weight of belonging nowhere pressed upon her shoulders. Too traditional for modern spaces like this, too innovative for traditional ones back home. Always between worlds, Miss Cruz, a tall man with sharp features and sharper glasses, approached. "I'm Julian Vega, design director. Follow me." His pace was brisk, offering no chance for small talk as they entered a sterile conference room where 3 other judges waited. Their expressions revealed nothing. "So," Julian began after she sat, "you want to join Alter. Tell us why." "I believe fashion should honor heritage while embracing innovation," Mariana said, opening her portfolio. "My work connects past and future." "Interesting outfit choice for an interview," interrupted a woman with a severe bob. Her nameplate read, "Vanessa Chen, Creative Director." "Very ethnic," Julian's mouth twitched. "We do appreciate cultural enthusiasm, but Alter's aesthetic is forward-looking, contemporary." "My designs are contemporary," Mariana replied, turning pages in her portfolio. "This collection uses traditional embroidery techniques with modern silhouettes." "Your technical skills are commendable," Julian cut in, barely glancing at her work. "But we're looking for visionaries who understand global markets, not folk art." Mariana's cheeks burned. "These aren't costumes. They're fashion that carries meaning, history." "History doesn't sell, Miss Cruz," Vanessa said with a tight smile. "Novelty does." The rest of the interview passed in a blur of dismissive nods and perfunctory questions. When Julian finally escorted her out, his parting words felt like a pat on the head. "Your passion is admirable. Perhaps try one of those boutiques specializing in ethnic crafts. Alter might not be the right fit." Mariana managed a tight smile, clutching her portfolio to her chest as she walked away. Behind her, she heard Julian murmur to an assistant, "Make sure my meeting with the MC finalist is set for tomorrow. That anonymous submission is exactly what we need." The MC finalist. Mariana's steps faltered. The very competition she had entered anonymously 3 weeks ago, where she'd signed her work simply as MC. She pushed through the glass doors into the sunlight, a smile growing despite her humiliation. They had no idea who they'd just rejected. 2 weeks later, Mariana stood at the counter of her mother's alterations shop, pinning a wedding gown for a customer when her phone buzzed. "Hola, Señora González," she said, holding pins between her lips as she answered. "Yes, the dress will be ready by—" "Is this Mariana Cruz?" an unfamiliar voice interrupted. "Yes, who's calling?" "This is Elise Howard from Alter Atelier. Congratulations. Your submission has won the Emerging Voices competition. We'd like you to come in to discuss the collaboration." Mariana nearly swallowed a pin. "I'm sorry, what?" "Your designs, submitted under MC. The judges were unanimous. We need to meet tomorrow to discuss the campaign launch. Are you available? Heart-hammering, Mariana agreed to the meeting. After hanging up, she broke into a wide grin, spinning in place before the bell above the shop door interrupted her celebration. Vanessa. Chen walked in, the same woman who had dismissed her as ethnic weeks earlier. I need an emergency alteration, she announced, not recognizing Mariana as she laid an expensive-looking dress on the counter. The zipper is faulty. I need it fixed by tomorrow morning. Mariana's first instinct was to refuse, but her mother's voice echoed in her mind. Your work speaks for itself. Let it do the talking. Of course, she said instead, keeping her face neutral. We can fix it today. Excellent, Vanessa said, not really looking at her. I'll return at 6. Will this be worn for a special occasion? Mariana asked, examining the garment. The Emerging Voices campaign announcement. We've found this extraordinary new designer, completely unknown but brilliant. A rare, authentic voice. How wonderful, Mariana replied, unable to keep the edge from her voice. It must be refreshing to find authentic talent. Refreshing, yes, Vanessa agreed absently, checking her phone. And marketable. Authenticity sells when properly packaged. When Vanessa returned that evening, she tried on the altered dress, examining it in the mirror. This is surprisingly good work, she admitted, turning to examine the perfect invisible. Repair. Your stitching is exquisite. Thank you, Mariana said. My grandmother taught me. Well, she taught you well. What do I owe you? Actually, Mariana said, I'm curious about this new designer you mentioned. What makes their work special? Their embroidery technique is unlike anything we've seen. Traditional methods with innovative applications. Vanessa smoothed the dress. To be honest, it's the kind of work we normally wouldn't consider, too rooted in heritage. But there's something extraordinary about the execution. I see. Mariana handed her a receipt. That'll be $60. As Vanessa left, she called over her shoulder. You should come see the exhibition when it opens. If you appreciate craftsmanship, you'll enjoy it. Mariana smiled to herself. I wouldn't miss it. The Altair showroom buzzed with activity as staff prepared for the press event. Display boards featured sketches and fabric swatches. Mariana's sketches, her designs, even a photo of her hands at work, cropped to show only the needle weaving through fabric, but they still didn't know who MC was. Mariana straightened her shoulders and approached the reception desk, wearing the same traditional outfit she'd worn to her interview. The same receptionist looked up, recognition dawning. I have an appointment with Elise Howard, Mariana stated. I'm MC. The receptionist's jaw actually dropped. Wait here, please. Minutes later, Elise Howard, a tall black woman with an intimidating presence, strode into the lobby, followed by Julian Vega and Vanessa Chen. Miss Cruz, Julian began, confusion evident. There must be some mistake. No mistake, Mariana replied, opening her portfolio to reveal the original sketches of the designs displayed around the room. I'm MC Mariana Cruz. The silence that followed was deafening. Impossible, Vanessa finally spluttered. These designs are sophisticated, innovative, and mine, Mariana finished. Perhaps you shouldn't judge a designer by her Huey Pill. Julian's face had gone pale. Miss Cruz, I think we made assumptions, Mariana suggested. Yes, you did. Elise Howard looked from Julian to Vanessa, then back to Mariana. Well, she said finally, this is unexpected but not unwelcome. Your work is extraordinary, Miss Cruz. That hasn't changed. Actually, Mariana said, it has, because now you know it comes from someone you deemed unsuitable for an internship. Before anyone could respond, a man's voice cut through the tension. What's happening here? Everyone turned as Luca Rivera entered the lobby. Mariana recognized him immediately. Altair's enigmatic lead designer, notorious for avoiding press and publicity. Julian quickly tried to smooth things over. Luca, this is apparently our competition winner, but there seems to be some confusion. I'm not confused, Mariana interjected. You rejected my internship application because my work was too ethnic. Then you selected my anonymous submission as your winner because it was authentic. I'm simply pointing out the hypocrisy. Luca's expression shifted from confusion to interest. Show me your portfolio. Mariana hesitated, then handed it over. Luca flipped through it slowly, taking in each design. The room remained silent. Finally, he looked up. These are brilliant. The stitching technique on this bodice. I've never seen anything like it. My grandmother taught me, Mariana said. It's a variation of a traditional Oaxacan method. Luca turned to Julian. You rejected her? Julian shifted uncomfortably. We felt her aesthetic didn't align with Altair's vision. Then, Altair's vision needs correction, Luca stated flatly. Miss Cruz, the press event starts in an hour. Your work is the centerpiece of our new collection. Will you join us? As our featured designer, not an intern. Mariana felt every eye on her. Part of her wanted to walk out, to take her designs and find somewhere that had appreciated her from the start. But another part, the part that heard her grandmother's voice saying never waste a chance to change minds, made her decision. I'll stay, she said, on one condition. My name and heritage are prominently featured. No watering down my identity to make it palatable. Luca smiled for the first time. Wouldn't dream of it. The press event was chaos, journalists peppered. Mariana with questions about her overnight success, unaware of her years of training. Photographers captured her traditional attire alongside models wearing her designs. And through it all, Luca Rivera remained close by, occasionally stepping in when questions became too intrusive. Miss Cruz, called out a fashion blogger, how does it feel to be Altair's token diversity hire? The room hushed. Mariana felt her cheeks burn. I'd like to answer that, Luca said, stepping forward, but Mariana placed a hand on his arm. No, I've got this. She faced the blogger directly. My designs were selected anonymously based solely on their merit. The real question is, how does it feel for Altair to realize they almost missed out on my talent because of their preconceptions? Applause rippled through the crowd. Even Julian and Vanessa, standing at the back, looked grudgingly impressed. Later, as the event wound down, Luca approached Mariana as she stood examining a display of her work. You handled that perfectly, he said. Most newcomers would have been intimidated. I'm not most newcomers, she replied, and I've dealt with worse than snarky bloggers. I believe it. He hesitated. I owe you an apology, not just for my colleagues' behavior, but for the industry's. We talk about innovation while recycling the same voices, the same perspectives. Mariana studied him. Why are you different? A shadow crossed his face. I'm half Mexican. My mother is from Puebla. I grew up straddling two worlds, never quite fitting in either. And yet you've never showcased that heritage in your work, Mariana observed. No, he admitted. I was taught to assimilate, to succeed on their terms. You're braver than I was. Before she could respond, Elise Howard approached them. Mariana, we'd like to discuss an expanded role. Your vision aligns perfectly with our new direction. What new direction is that? Mariana asked. Authenticity, heritage, real stories behind the designs. Elise's smile was wide. You're exactly what Altair needs right now. Right now, Mariana repeated. When it's trendy, Elise's smile faltered. That's not... Yes, it is, Luca interrupted. But trends can lead to permanent change, if leveraged correctly. He turned to Mariana. Use this platform. Make it impossible for them to go back to excluding voices like yours. Mariana considered his words. I'll think about it. That night, as she helped her mother close the alterations shop, Mariana recounted the day's events. So, her mother said, folding a customer's mended shirt, will you take their offer? I don't know, Mariana admitted. It feels complicated. Her mother nodded. Like your abuela used to say, the most beautiful embroidery has messy threads underneath. What would you do? Her mother considered the question. I would remember that doors opened by your talent can't easily be closed by others' prejudice. The idea... Next morning, Mariana called Elise and accepted the position. 3 months later, Mariana stood in Altair's main workshop, surrounded by seamstresses implementing her designs. What had begun as a single capsule collection had expanded into a featured line with her name on the label. The sales projections are beyond our expectations, Julian informed her, having transitioned from skeptic to supporter once her designs started generating profits. The waiting list for the embroidered jacket is 6 weeks long. We need to increase production, Vanessa added. Can we simplify some of the embroidery patterns, make them machine reproducible? Mariana frowned. That would compromise the quality and meaning. Each pattern tells a story. Stories don't scale, Vanessa argued, and scale equals profit. Actually, Luca said, entering the workshop, I have a different solution. Over the following weeks, Luca and Mariana established a training program for artisans from Oaxaca, creating jobs that honored traditional techniques while meeting Altair's production needs. The program became as newsworthy as the collection itself, earning praise from both fashion critics and cultural commentators. You've changed this place, Luca told her one evening as they reviewed designs for the next season. They're all thinking differently now. Not all of them, Mariana replied, thinking of Vanessa's ongoing attempts to commercialize and simplify her work. Enough of them, Luca insisted, including me. Their eyes met, and for a moment Mariana felt a connection beyond their professional collaboration. But the moment was interrupted when an assistant burst into the room. Ms. Cruz, there's someone here insisting on seeing you. A woman who says she's your grandmother. Mariana jumped up. Abuela, here. She rushed to the lobby, where her grandmother stood examining a display of Mariana's designs with a critical eye. Abuela. Mariana embraced her. What are you doing here? Your mother told me you were working in this fancy place, she replied, in Spanish. I wanted to see what they're doing with our stitches. Luca approached, extending his hand to the older woman. Senora Cruz, it's an honor to meet you. Your granddaughter's talent has transformed our company. Mariana's grandmother looked him up and down. And who taught her, These are our family techniques, our village patterns. Abuela, Mariana began, embarrassed. No, she's right, Luca said. We owe you a debt, Senora Cruz. Perhaps you would consider consulting on our artisan program. The older woman looked surprised, then pleased. I might, she allowed. If you pay me properly, Luca laughed. I wouldn't dare offer less. Later that week, Altair held a special event celebrating the artisan program. Fashion media covered it extensively, positioning the company as a pioneer in ethical fashion. Mariana watched as Julian and Vanessa warmly welcomed her grandmother and the other Oaxacan artisans, the same executives who had once dismissed her work as folk art. Quite a turnaround, she murmured to Luca, who stood beside her. Money talks, he admitted, but so does talent, and yours shouted too loudly to ignore. I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop, Mariana confessed. For this to become last. Seasons trend and for Altair to move on. Luca turned to face her. That won't happen, because you've done more than create beautiful clothes. You've created a blueprint for how this industry could operate, more inclusively, more respectfully. I'd like to believe that. Then believe this, he said. I'm promoting you to co-creative director. Mariana stared at him. What? Equal status with me, equal say in all collections. Altair's future will be designed by both of us. Before she could respond, a commotion near the entrance caught their attention. A renowned fashion critic, notorious for his scathing reviews, had arrived unexpectedly. Alessandro Vitti, Luca muttered. He hasn't attended an Altair event in years. The critic moved through the room, examining displays with a discerning eye. When he reached Mariana's designs, he stopped, studying the intricate patterns. Who is responsible for these? He demanded loudly. Luca nudged Mariana forward. Mariana Cruz, our new co-creative director. Alessandro's eyes narrowed. This embroidery technique, it's familiar. It's based on traditional Oaxacan methods, Mariana explained. No, he insisted, I've seen it before in Luca's 2018 collection. The one inspired by, what did you call it? Global indigenous influences. The room went silent. Mariana turned. To Luca, whose face had gone pale. Is that true? She asked quietly. It's complicated, he began. Did you use Oaxacan techniques without attribution? She pressed, feeling the ground shift beneath her. The industry was different then, he said. We didn't think about cultural credit the way we do now. We, she repeated. Or you? Alessandro watched their exchange with undisguised interest. Trouble in paradise, he remarked to no one in particular. Mariana stepped away from Luca, addressing the critic directly. Mr. Vitti, would you like to see how these techniques are properly executed? My grandmother and her colleagues are demonstrating in the workshop. As she led Alessandro away, she heard Luca call after her, but she didn't turn around. In the workshop, her grandmother and the other artisans showed their techniques to the fascinated critic, who took detailed notes and photographs. He seemed genuinely moved by their stories and craftsmanship. Miss Cruz, he said as they concluded, you've brought something authentic to an industry drowning in pretension. Don't let them dilute it. After he left, Mariana found Luca waiting outside the workshop. I should have told you, he said immediately. Yes, you should have. That collection, I was trying to honor my mother's heritage, but the executives insisted we make it universal. No specific cultural references, no credits. And you went along with it. I did, he admitted. Because I wanted to succeed. Because I thought changing the system from the inside required playing by its rules first. And now? Now I know better. Because of you. He stepped closer. The co-creative director offer still stands. We can do this right together. Mariana considered his words. I need time to think. 6 months after winning the competition, Mariana stood backstage at Paris Fashion Week, watching models line up in her designs. Not just a capsule collection now, but Altair's main line, with her name featured prominently alongside Luca's. She had accepted his offer, but on her terms, full cultural attribution for all designs, fair compensation for artisan, collaborators, and a commitment to training programs in communities whose traditions inspired their work. 3 minutes to showtime, a stage manager called. Mariana felt a hand on her shoulder and turned to find her grandmother, looking surprisingly at home among the fashion chaos. Nervous? The older woman asked. Terrified, Mariana admitted. Good. Fear means you care. Her grandmother straightened Mariana's collar. Remember, they're not seeing our stitches, they're seeing our stories. The music began and the first model stepped onto the runway. Mariana held her breath as the audience took in her designs, traditional techniques reimagined for contemporary silhouettes, each piece telling a story of heritage and innovation. The applause started slowly, then built. By the finale, when all the models returned to the runway together, the audience was on their feet. Luca appeared beside her. They love it. They love you. They love our work, she corrected, including her grandmother and the other artisans who had contributed. When Mariana walked the runway for the final bow, she brought her grandmother and the other artisans with her. The applause intensified. Afterward, amid the crush of congratulations and media requests, Alessandro Vitti approached her. Miss Cruz, he said, you've accomplished something remarkable. You've made tradition not just relevant, but revolutionary. Thank you, she said, but I didn't do it alone. No, he agreed, glancing at Luca, who was speaking with reporters nearby. You've transformed him too, you know. He was becoming a cliché, the tortured genius designer. Now he's something more interesting, a collaborator. Later that night, at the after-party, Mariana found a quiet corner away from the celebration. Luca joined her, 2 champagne glasses in hand. Hiding from your admirers? Processing, she corrected, accepting a glass. 6 months ago, I was helping my mother hem wedding dresses, and now you're reinventing an industry, he finished. That might be an exaggeration. I don't think so. He clinked his glass against hers. To threads that connect rather than divide. I'm still not entirely sure I belong here, she admitted. Neither am I, he replied. Maybe that's our strength, seeing the fashion world from both inside and outside. Mariana considered this. My grandmother says the strongest fabrics combine different threads. Your grandmother is a wise woman. He hesitated. We make a good team, you know. We do, she agreed, when we're honest with each other. I promise to be honest going forward. About everything. She studied his face, seeing sincerity there. I'm holding you to that. The next morning, Mariana woke to find her designs featured on the front page of every fashion publication. Revolution on the runway, one headline declared. Tradition meets tomorrow, announced another. Her phone rang, her mother calling from Los Angeles. Mija. You're famous, Mariana laughed. Hardly. The shop has been flooded with calls. Everyone wants alterations from Mariana Cruz's mother. You should raise your prices, Mariana suggested. Already did, her mother replied smugly. And I've hired 2 assistants, former students from my sewing class. When they hung up, Mariana sat on the edge of her hotel bed, taking it all in. Her life had transformed in ways she couldn't have imagined. Yet the core of who she was, the values her family had instilled, the techniques her grandmother had taught, remained unchanged. In the months that followed, Mariana divided her time between Altair's headquarters and her mother's shop, which had expanded into a design studio. The artisan program grew to include craftspeople from diverse traditions, all credited and compensated for their contributions. And when Altair opened its first design school, offering scholarships to students from communities whose crafts had been appropriated but rarely celebrated, Mariana knew she had found her purpose. Not bad for someone who was told to try ethnic boutiques, Luca teased, as they watched the first class of students present their work. We still have a long way to go, Mariana replied. Yes, he agreed, but at least now we're walking in the right direction. As one student explained the cultural significance behind her designs, Mariana thought of her first day at Altair, the dismissive glances, the condescension, the closed doors. Now those doors were not just open, but transformed. And she had done that stitch by stitch, thread by thread. Not by changing who she was, but by refusing to be less than all of herself. True value isn't always visible at first glance. Like the hidden stitches that hold a garment together, our greatest strengths often lie beneath the surface. In the heritage we carry, the knowledge passed through generations, and the courage to remain authentic when the world demands conformity. Sometimes, the most revolutionary act is simply refusing to be anything less than exactly who you are.